and Money podcast, a podcast for neurodiverse women. I am Sherry, a financial coach.
And I am Val, a financial planner. We are coming to you today as neurospicy women ourselves, and we want to share a bit about ourselves so you can get to know us. So I am a financial planner. I work with clients in a number of different situations, but the general heart in all situations is helping people to feel better about their numbers, make empowered decisions, have confidence with their finances. And what about you, Sherry? What is it that a financial coach does?
So I focus initially on helping clients understand what's important to them, look at where their money has been going, and develop
Love that.
strategies, which is the key part, that work for the way their brain works to manage their money moving forward. So our brains don't like to nickel and dime every cent to see where it went, but being able to see quickly and get feedback on where that money went and where you want it to go and leaning into automations is really what I help my clients with. And for me, financial coaching was never a plan. It wasn't a career that I knew existed. It was something I'd never heard of before. And then in 2017, after a very long time with the company, an older white dude decided to fire me, and through no warning, no foreshadowing. So I really took that, and the biggest step after I got fired was to look at our finances, peel back everything, cut back everything that we could. And then part of my severance package included working with a career coach, and the career coach helped me to open up my eyes to what was possible and actually challenged me to figure out what I wanted to do. And when she asked me that, I'm like, well, I would help people make changes with their money. But immediately the disclaimer was, oh, that's not a thing. And she challenged me to have a look at it. And well, turns out it's a thing. So I'm excited that she pushed me, and so grateful for getting terminated that day, even though the day and like weeks and months followed kind of felt like shit. But like, what about you, Val? What led you to a career as a financial planner?
So similar to you, it wasn't like I was a child and I knew that I wanted to be this when I grew up. But what I did know is that people and relationships light me up. And I love helping people. I love getting to know people and understand their story. And just like you said, finding out what's important to them and understanding them. So through this career path and that kind of little cliche saying of everything happens for a reason, the stars aligned, the right doors opened, and in my schooling, I found financial services as a route. So knew that I heard or that it was numbers and people, and those two things for
Yep.
me are like match made in heaven. So took that route and did some time at the bank and saw it wasn't where I could show up and shine. I could show up and do a really good job, but I wasn't plugged in. So made the decision to leave the bank and go out on my own as a financial planner, and I have not looked back. It was the best decision to be an entrepreneur, and then it really allows me to work with clients in the way that I want to work with clients. So my journey has had a really cool uh, path in terms of the experiences and the people that I've met along the way. And that's what got me into it was people. I love people. I think that personal finances is something that we're given the chainsaw and we're not really told how to use it. So it's either self-taught or maybe what our parents passed on to us or what YouTube teaches us. But naturally, not a lot of humans take an interest in researching personal finances themselves. So that's where you and I come in as the experts that get to guide them through this journey and ideally having those relationships lifelong.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And I love being able to work with clients to help them have more flexible lives. Like, one of my top priorities is that freedom and flexibility. And throughout 2023, I actually made the decision to take a job as a financial coach with a Canadian financial tech company. And while I did really enjoy it and it was as best a job that was suited for me, like, I just made the decision earlier this year that I'm not meant for a job. I'm meant for entrepreneurship and being able to help my clients do that too. Like, I've had clients who left jobs and started or grew businesses and then were
Yes.
able to work fewer hours, support and work with the clients that they love, and like set boundaries around what's important to them, because being able to work less is a big thing for a lot of people. And if you're doing something where you're supporting people through a job, obviously like that job's going to take their cut and pay you your commission or pay you hourly or whatever that looks like. But so much of the control is taken out of your hands too. So what would you say, Val, is one of your top values?
Mm, I love that for your values. Mine would be in alignment with yours. So my values, and when working with clients, it's having the ability to prioritize what's important to you. So it's the value is what are your values? It's understanding what's like what is important to clients. Is it time with family? And if so, how can we be creating that? If it's their health, right? And financial health fits into that holistic health picture. It's just not talked about nearly as much, but we're losing sleep over things. We get an investment statement, and if it's down, that affects it. It has greater impact than we give it credit. So my value is their values. So finding out what their values are and helping to create a plan that aligns to those values.
I love that. And being able to like just help people tune into what's important to them when,
Yes.
especially in this day and age, things are so challenging. It's hard to get from day to day and make sure all your bills are paid and make sure there's like food on the table and a roof over your head. And they're working on putting out like the immediate fires, and we get to take them from like, okay, if you change these things, then you get to have like this balance back in your life, and you're able to look at the future of like what your life you want it to be and planning for that today. Like I came across a TikTok video, I think over the weekend, I don't know, about there was this lovely woman talking about how she if she has $200 in her checking account and $7,000 in her savings account, she has $200. And if she has 24
Mm.
cents in her savings or in her checking account and $7,000 in her savings account, she has 24 cents. And
Oh, that's
that mentality
self-control.
of I think she went on to say like that $7,000 is for future me. Future me is like she's a bit of a bitch and you don't want to piss her off, and if you take that $7,000 and spend it on things today for current you, then future you is going to be like, what the hell? Like you really messed with me.
Yes. I love that perspective. And I think so often when it is accessible in that savings account, a lot of us, and I was one of those people as well, that like it was too accessible. So to have that story that goes with it, that's a strategy.
Yeah.
Love it.
Love it. Yeah. It's just like, just flipping the way you think about it. Because one of the things I see a lot is that like cycle in and out of money into the savings account, out of the savings account. And we're going to
Yes.
talk a lot about this later about like tips and strategies to manage money, especially with neurospicy brains and what that looks like, and being able to lean into those strategies, but being able to just like think about, oh, wait a minute. Yes, this is technically my money, but I put it in savings for a reason. And when you go to take it out for something that's like not super important or not an emergency, it just helps you flip the way you're thinking about things.
So we've both mentioned that we're neurospicy women, which I love. How did you recognize, or did someone else recognize for you that you were neurodiverse? And how has that impacted your personal finances?
Yeah, so it really came from, and I know this is a really common story, like it came from social media and like those posts about you may have ADHD if, and then like they
Hmm.
check off five things. I'd be like, yeah,
And then
damn,
the
shit.
algorithm is like focused on that, and you're like, oh my gosh, every day
Yeah.
there's a new.
I took it a step further and like actually started reading more about it, like as you do, like got down the rabbit hole of what
Yeah.
signs and symptoms indicate ADHD. And it's like, oh shit, yeah.
Hmm.
And it's like being able to then take that a step further and figure out like how has that impacted my finances, and how does that impact the way I manage my money. And one of the things that really helped me is because managing money with ADHD is a pretty big struggle with impulse spending and all of those things like leading to debt.
Yeah.
And it really had me reflecting on, why am I successful with my money despite having ADHD? And I started looking at the systems that I had in place. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, leaning into that out of sight, out of
Mm.
mind, and moving money into somewhere that I don't immediately see with my regular like checking account. But it also had me reflect on my spending. And lots of ADHDers are like impulse spenders, like pretty consistently lower cost items. And I am more of a squirrel the money away and buy higher cost items. So like a couple of the things that I've purchased recently, like early last year, it was like, okay, espresso machine and all the like things that come along with it so that I could figure out exactly how to duplicate that Starbucks white chocolate mocha in my kitchen, which I've nailed. So if you have questions about that, let me know. And then like more recently, it was things around health. Like I within a week of one another purchased a Peloton bike and an Aura ring, which helps track like lots of health stats. So it's like I tend to like buy not a whole lot for long periods of time, and then like I have larger impulse buys. So like I say
Yes.
impulse, but I do go down the research rabbit hole. I try not to like buy them right away. And I had been thinking about the Peloton, and I think it was fate. December 31st, and saw one on Facebook Marketplace that
I
was a
love
reasonable
Facebook
price, pretty
Marketplace.
close. I'm like, I'll take
Hmm.
it. So like figuring out your spending habits and how that works, but also like figuring out how to get dopamine hits in other ways. So for me, a lot of my dopamine when it comes to finance is from saving, and I love seeing my savings account balances grow.
Hmm.
So how about you, Val? Like what about you, and what did you discover about yourself that led
Journey.
you to ADHD, and like has there been any impact to your finances?
The journey of entrepreneurship is also a journey of self-awareness. So that piece in there, seeing why certain tasks did or didn't get done, and spouse awareness as well. I mean, I can also watch myself clean on a Saturday morning, and I'm like, "Ah, look at the order she just did that in." So self-awareness, right? And just saying like, oh, okay, this is a little bit different. The social media aspect was totally in there as well. The algorithm was sending me the ADHD rabbit hole door, and I was like, I will walk through this. And there's a lot of alignment there. So it was great because it felt less alone. But then it was like, okay, what do I do with this? So systems and processes in place for finances has been huge. And a big piece of that was working with you when I first left my job and went self-employed. If you think of a wardrobe full of clothes and no organization, you just toss the clean clothes in, no folding, no organization. That's how I was working with my finances, especially going into self-employment now. There was kind of this whole, it was more so survival and
Yeah.
flying versus like, okay, what can we set up here? So now there's different baskets for different clothes. Things are folded within there. If I need something, I know exactly where to look for it. That has been huge because it's by going into the numbers, we're able to worry less about the numbers. But when we're not looking at it and it's just this wardrobe full of clothes, and if we need something, we're like, oh, shoot, like I really don't want to even try to look for that. That's when it becomes overwhelming. So, not to make a laundry reference, but to make a laundry reference. So, yes.
Yeah, I love that analogy. It's like when your closet is a shit show and it's a mess and you don't know where anything is, you don't want to open the doors. And like maybe you're just wearing that same dirty ass outfit over and over again because you're like, I can't look in my closet. It's a mess. Like you're doing the
Right.
same things over and over, even though you know they're not
Not
working.
serving you. Yes.
And when you get organized, you're like, huh, what am I going to wear today? It's just like
Yes.
such a different feeling. And it really is like, a lot of people would be overwhelmed in looking at like the number of accounts I have, both for my business and for my personal. But it's like everything has its place, and I have systems that gets
Yep.
everything to the place it needs to be. And I pay myself every 2 weeks for my business. That makes the personal side easier. I know what I can pay myself every 2 weeks, and it's not like oh yeah, I made like this much this month, so I'm going to pay myself like a big paycheck. And then next month, you're like, oh shit, I
Yeah.
made 25% of what I made last month. Like, how do I live off of that? It's like figuring out that extra layer of difficulty that entrepreneurship adds and how you can
Yes.
make that be less stressful. Yeah, that's
Yes.
super awesome. Like it's been great chatting with you and
Yeah.
sharing with the audience and letting them get to know us. And I'm really excited about this adventure and
Me
the
too.
accountability we're going to provide one another. So this isn't like 4 episodes and then you never see us again. So be
You're stuck
sure
with us.
to be sure to hit that like subscribe so you get those episodes. We're going to talk a lot about exact strategies on how to manage money. We're going to look down the road at bringing guest speakers in so you can talk to some of our clients, and we can like peel back the layers on other people's
Yes.
finances who maybe aren't ready to work one-on-one with us, but they'll get that opportunity on a podcast, because like sometimes people just need that outside perspective looking at their money to really be like, oh shit, yeah, that makes sense, I'm going to try that.
Yeah, and I think feeling like you're not alone in it, right? Feeling like there's someone with you in it. So a guide on that journey that's with you, huge. So
Yeah.
looking forward to it. Lots more of great things to come.
Yeah, probably not surprised that we have a laundry list of ideas. Not to hit on that like laundry aspect again. We've got lots of
We're
ideas
back
and
at it.
we can't wait to share them with you. Have a great day.